Hello and welcome to Restore 2022. And so now we come to Exodus chapter 3, the burning bush. The Israelites were crying and groaning in chapter 2, conveying the intensity of their suffering, setting the scene for this chapter. The death of the king marked a new opportunity for Moses, as he was obviously now not known. He was tending to the flock of his father Jethro at the beginning of this chapter. The Hebrew suggests it was his habitual occupation. He did it day after day after day. And it was out of this day-to-day life that God calls to him and says this: I have indeed seen the misery of my people in Egypt. I have heard them crying out because of their slave drivers, and I am concerned about their suffering. So I have come down to rescue them from the hand of the Egyptians, and to bring them into a good and spacious land, a land flowing with milk and honey. There's obviously a reverse of the curse that we saw in Genesis 3. Then God asked Moses to go and partner with him to deliver the people. But Moses says this: Who am I that I should go? And God replies, I will certainly be with you. It's beautiful because God doesn't even address who Moses is. He does not say, Moses, you are wonderful and mighty in word and deed, with the best education in the world, as Stephen does in Acts chapter 7. No, I will be with you, says God. It doesn't matter who you are, it matters who God is, because he will be with you. And Moses' objection then turns from who am I to who are you? What is your name? God then tells Moses his name: I am. And he then repeats his promise of delivering the people whilst expanding on his plan to plunder the Egyptians. So we come to chapter 4, and Moses is still hesitant to go. He has seen God, but will others believe that he has seen God? So God says this: what is in your hand? That is what God will use. It doesn't matter if you don't have much. Moses just had a staff. David had a staff and a sling. Samson had a jawbone. A boy had 5 loaves and 2 fish. Again and again, God uses what's in our hands. But as what we actually have in our hands is not too relevant. But as Moses did with his staff, lay it down before God and let him use it. And here, God turns this staff in Moses' hand into a snake, proving his power. And it is in this and other signs God will prove to the Israelites that Moses will be their deliverer. And it is by the end of this chapter, the staff, the humble staff, it's called the staff of God. But still Moses protests. He's now not eloquent enough. His many arguments sound plausible. But in verse 13, we see his true motive. Lord, please send someone else. Moses just did not want to do the difficult task that God had asked him to do, and eventually he forfeits this part of his assignment, as Aaron, his brother, is appointed spokesperson for Moses. And then in verse 20, Moses actually went. The encounter with God led to action, and it must do for us also. We may have a powerful encounter with God, but we must act on it. And in verses 21 to 23, God reveals more of his plan to Moses. Greater obedience always leads to a greater revelation of the will of God. It's only when Moses actually left and headed out for Egypt, obeying God, that God then decided to reveal more of his plan. And if we want to know more of God's plan for our lives and his will for our lives, then we must begin to obey him more in the things he's already revealed to us. And then he'll begin to show us more. But then we close with another part of what obedience looks like. There came a point where Moses could not continue without a greater level of obedience. On the way to Egypt, God sought to kill Moses, seemingly because his son was not circumcised. We do not know why Moses compromised in this area, but there came a point where Moses could not progress any further in the plan of God without a greater level of obedience. And sometimes the only way to progress further in your relationship with God is to stop compromising in that area where you are compromising. Thank you.